Hey everyone, I hope you can see me, hear me clearly. Just a very quick thumbs up or show of hands or very quick hi if you can. Anyone, if they can type, then I would know that there are no technical issues. Okay, all right. Electro beats. I don't know what that is. Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So I will not take a lot of your time. This is going to be a quick 15-minute conversation, and then I would answer a few quick questions that you might have for me. So we'll wrap it up in 30 minutes, right? And it's about the US Fed rate hike. I've received a lot of questions from all of you that hey, US Feds have raised the hike, has done the interest rate hike again. Is it going to crush the Indian stock market? Is the US stock market going to get crushed soon? Can you do a little bit of commentary around it? I've not done this commentary before, right? So I thought that, hey, this might be the perfect time because the rates are unlikely to go aggressively from this point on. That is what the commentary from Fed is coming out. So I will speak in 5 simple terms, right? So one is that what the US Fed rate hike is about. I will help you understand that. Second, I will speak about the broad macro impact of this Fed hike. How is it impacting the tech stocks? How is it impacting the housing market? So I'm going to have a very quick conversation there. Third, I'm going to talk about the impact on the Indian stock market specifically. Is there any connection? Because a lot of people are giving the commentary that there is zero connection between Indian market, US stock market. So I'll help you understand it logically. Fourth point, should you panic? And what is it that you should be doing in order to make money in it? And finally, I will take questions, right? So that's the flow. We will be very quick, but I'm hoping that I would be able to simplify this concept for you. Okay. So one, what is the meaning of Fed rate hike and what does it mean? So Fed is the US central macroeconomic authority which decides the Fed rates, right? So these are in India, they are called as repo rate or repurchase rate. Now you don't need to get stressed about what type of rate it is. It is like housing loan rate, is it like this rate, that rate? 2-3 points that you need to know. Number one, when we talk about repo rates in India, that is the mother of all rates. For example, you might be taking a home loan. Similarly, you might be taking a car loan. You might be taking FD loans, right? So FD loans, banks takes from you in a way, right? Because you go do your FD. So all this is impacted by the Fed interest rate, or in India, the reverse, in India, it is affected by the repo rate. Okay. So I hope this is clear that it is the mother of all rates, that if the Feds decide to increase the interest rate in the US, then the housing loan rates will also go up. The money that the banks pay you in form of FDs or savings interest rate, that will also go up. So all other type of rates will go up. I hope this is clear to everyone, right? So this is the first key point. And this is one of the most important points because it helps you understand the psychology behind the rates. Okay. Second key point, that why is Fed's increasing the rates, right? And will the Indian government or Indian RBI also do similar? Okay, so they are trying to curb something called as inflation, right? So inflation and interest rate go hand in hand. If the inflation is very high, then the Feds will come out, right? Or the RBI will come out and they'll say that, you know what, there is a lot of महंगाई in the economy, which is equivalent to inflation. So in order to bring it down, what is it that we need to do? We need to do something called as quantitative tightening, QT, right? So this is a fancy finance word, so I'll break it down for you. So in simple terms, what is the meaning of QT? QT simply means that hey, they are decreasing the money supply from the economy. Again, okay, complex finance. No, it is not very easy, right? So basically, in order to decrease the flow of money, what is it that they do? They increase the interest rate, right? Which is exactly the meaning of Fed rate hike. Okay, so in order to decrease the money supply in the economy, they jack up the interest rate, right? Even the RBI is likely to do very much similar in the Indian market going forward. And they make this decision on periodic basis, right? So they will meet like every 3 months or sometimes earlier. There can be impromptu meetings that can happen, all that stuff. Okay. So I hope this is clear to everyone that why is this being done? Because the inflation is still very high in the economy. It has started to come down. Okay. So this brings us to the second key component that, hey, is it something that you should worry? No. Okay. Why is that? Because number one, this was expected that the Feds are going to increase the interest rate by 75 basis points, which means 0.75% increase. Okay. So this is nothing new. This is something that was expected by the market. You can go Google more about it. Almost all the major investment banks, financial institutes, they were giving a 75% base rate hike probability of more than 90%, right? So there is nothing wrong, right? This is something which was very much expected, and therefore the markets have not reacted violently. Okay, so I hope this is clear to everyone. What is going to happen with all this macroeconomics? How does it relate to the stock market? So let us very quickly speak about it. So number one, stock markets are forward looking creatures. So what is meaning of forward looking creatures? So basically whatever prices you are identifying today, for example, let's say hypothetically HDFC Bank right now is trading at 1550 hypothetically. Okay, what does that 1550 indicate? It simply indicates that hey, it is the future potential of HDFC Bank, right? It's not as if that what the fundamentals of the bank is today. People are anticipating what HDFC Bank will become 6 months from now or 1 year from now. So when you are trying to invest in the stock market, please simply understand that current macroeconomic events or Fed increase, this increase, that increase, it just gives an indication of what might happen in the future. So please make a bet. You don't make any money just by analyzing the news that here is like Fed rate hike. Now the stock market will get crushed. Let me withdraw the money. You will not make one bit of money by doing this. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Now let me very quickly talk about the second aspect, that what is the broad macro impact of Fed rate hike. So if interest rate goes up, then what typically happens in the economy? It has already started to happen, and it has been happening for the last 4, 5, or at least 6 months. So there is nothing new here. What I'm saying, it is still the same, but it is very important for me to come and break it down for you. Okay. First things first, right? With increased interest rate, the cost of borrowing goes up. Now, what is the meaning of cost of borrowing? For example, Byju's is struggling to raise money, right? And financing problems. Or a lot of startups are terming it as a funding winter, whatnot, right? So all these problems are there in the startup domain now. Why is that? Because the cost of capital. So what is the cost of capital? For example, if you have to take home loan right now, the home loan rates have gone up. Why? Because the interest rate, or the mother of all rates, has gone up. So therefore, home loan rates have also gone up. Similarly, if I am running a startup, then for me, procuring capital has become more expensive. Why? Because the interest rates have gone up. So with interest rate hikes, the cost of capital goes up, and therefore you are seeing that a lot of people, right? For example, a lot of startups, not people, even people. So a lot of startups, for example, Byju's and Academy, vagera, they are all cutting their workforce, trying to pivot towards profitability. Why? Because they know that they will have a hard time raising money over the next few months, or probably year and a half. Okay. So I hope this is clear to everyone, that the first issue that happens due to high interest rate is the cost of capital becomes high. The second problem that happens with during high interest rate environment is that refinancing your loans become a problem. For example, I will not say, right, specific stock on public forum. So some stocks in India, right, which are becoming like new age billionaires, whatnot, they have built their entire business on very high debt. Okay, great. You took the loan. Now the cost, now you have to repay that loan, right? Because earlier the interest rate was low. Now the interest rate has gone up, right? So again, going back that housing example. So for example, if you took a fixed, is there no audio? No, that should not be the case. Okay, so yeah. All right, so some people are commenting the name already, so you can relate. Okay, so all right, so basically those people have taken a lot of loan, right? So again, going back to that example of refinancing your loans, right? And if you have taken a home loan 6 months back, then you would hypothetically have like a 7% fixed rate of interest. Now if you go and take that loan, it comes at 8%, right? Whatever new loans that you're taking, you'll have to pay a higher interest on it, right? Some loans are floating, so all these problems are there. So basically, to cut the long story short, what I'm simply saying is that a lot of companies that are high debt companies, they will have to repay their loans now, and it becomes like a slight issue for them if you're an over leveraged company. So this is two. Okay. Third is the prospect of growth stocks. For example, a lot of people are commenting that hey, UiPath, Apple, Meta, Amazon, why are they getting crushed? Simply because these are what type of businesses? These are R&D oriented businesses. They need to invest crazy amount of money in terms of accelerating their growth, hiring new people, intellectual property based businesses. So they need a lot of capital, right? Similarly, startups need a lot of capital. All these companies are growth companies. You must have heard the term that these are growth companies. So it becomes like a slight issue for them because getting new access to capital becomes a slight challenge, and therefore their growth slows down. It's not as if that their growth is gone. It's just that it slows down temporarily. Okay. So I hope this is clear that a lot of high debt companies, companies that need to refinance their businesses, companies that are high growth companies which are based on R&D, they are going to suffer a little bit. Companies which are small cap, mid cap, they also are stuck. For example, you might have seen in India that the mid cap Nifty right now, or mid cap, small cap 150 is 8.5% from its top, but Nifty is hardly 3%, 4% from its top. Why that difference? Simply because of the fact that the cost of capital is high, and the smaller the company is, it becomes more and more difficult, or their cost of capital becomes even higher, right? So that's a simple thing that you need to keep in mind. Okay, now comes the next part, that what is going to be the impact on the Indian stock market and the overall impact. Okay, very simple. Is that a reason to panic? No. Why is that not a reason to panic right now? Because here is no surprise. Everyone knew that the US Feds are going to increase the interest rate, and I'm standing today and telling you that RBI is also going to increase its interest rate. That day, probably the market will fall by 1-2% or whatever, but that is not end of it. It's not as if that forever the markets have been crushed. Okay, so this is one. Second key thing, that such a scenario of increasing interest rate, has it gone up in the has it happened in the past? Yes, it happens every 4, 5, 6 years, right? It's not as if that this is the only time that is going to happen and the world is over and nothing is going to work out from this point. Please don't believe in this. Okay, what type of people should worry in this market? Okay, so people who are trading should worry a lot. Okay, because you are trading in a highly volatile environment. If you have FNO positions, if you are a trader, if you can't hold your positions over like a year and a half, if you have invested in some companies that are going down aggressively, you are messed up. Okay, as simple as that. I can't take any point there. It's a great time to aggregate. I'm aggregating in bulk. I will come out with a video also, right? Tomorrow sometime, or tomorrow day after. Right, I've already informed it on the community post. I'll put a community post today as well, right, on the YouTube member chat. So I will put it there, right, of what stocks I'm buying, etc. And the video will come out in like 2-3 days, maybe. Okay, couple of days. So that's that, right? I don't think there is any issue with that. Finance stocks are not bad in India. One of the reasons why Indian market is doing fairly well is very simple, because bank cleanup in India has happened from 2016-18, right? So that was the time when all this Punjab National Bank and bunch of other banks had done poorly. And as a result, our banking system was strengthened. And as a result, our books are cleaned and asset quality is fine, right? So therefore, there is nothing to worry from an Indian point of view. Is there something to worry from a US tech point of view? No, it's fine. It's not as if that companies like Google, Meta, all these companies are going to go to zero. They have huge customer base, huge cash on hand. They are all going to come up. Just to share a fact with you, please go and open up and type out Amazon stock price. Okay, and look at the tab from approximately 2000 to 2002, and you will see that Amazon stock crashed from $5 all the way to 35 cents. Okay, so that's almost a 90-95% decrease in the stock price. Then from 35 cents, it went all the way to $160. So that's a 560 times growth, times, not percentage, 560 times growth on Amazon stock. Something similar is happening on Meta, something similar is happening on Google, something similar is happening on Apple, something similar is happening on Microsoft. Does it mean that they are going to go to zero? No. Okay, so that's not going to happen. Finally, a lot of people make it like a nationalistic debate that, you know what, Indian market better than this market, that market. See, we live in a highly connected world. Indian market is a lot dependent on the US stock market. Some stocks in India are going to suffer, right, going forward, simply because of the fact that the US dollar is strengthening vis-a-vis the INR. Okay, so what I'll simply say, and I will wrap it up here, very, very simple. So how much time is it? Okay, so 15 minutes over. So what I'll simply say is that it's very simple, that I'm gearing my money towards growth, right? Because that is where I feel a lot of money in India can be made, be it banks, be it good manufacturing companies, be it investment-oriented firms, right? So these are the type of stocks that I'm buying. I'm not buying companies that have no pricing power, right, at this stage, especially Indian companies that depend a lot on imports. Okay, so that is going to be problematic because exporters will benefit, right? Going forward, what is going to happen over the next 1.5 years is fairly simple, and this is a video that I've done. In case you have not watched it, please go watch it. It's about Nifty levels, right, that I've spoken about. I do genuinely feel that we will hit that 21,500 mark. Why? Again, tying back and wrapping up our conversation, that why was this interest rate hike taken place? Simply because the inflation was high in the economy. Inflation has started to come down. Look at the last 6 episodes of inflation post World War II, and you will see that it takes from going from like 8%, 9% inflation to baseline inflation, whatever is decided, not more than 1.5 years. And the moment that happens, the interest rates are going to get cut. The moment that happens, the stock market is going to rise. Many of you keep on asking me, when will the exact bull run start? It will happen once the, it's not as if that we can exactly predict that, hey, on this particular date, 23rd of August or whatever it is. No, we can't do it like that. But what I will simply tell you is that that this thing will keep on working in tandem, that the inflation is going to come down from this point, right? And the interest rate is not going to increase. That will be the first leg. And the second leg would be that the interest rate will start to get cut. And as a result, the stock market will actually create like a new bull, right? So that's what I would say. Nothing to worry. This is nothing new that is happening. The only problem would be that if you're stuck in very high debt companies, you will get crushed. If you are stuck in some small caps, mid caps that are not giving returns, please do not worry. There is nothing to be off about that. It's completely fine, right? They have survived this entire funding winter, so to say, and they will do from this point. Okay. So let me take like questions for 13, 14 more minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. Thank you, Satyam. Thank you, Anoop. Okay, what about TTK Prestige, Web of Global? So I just told you, right, that hey, small cap, mid cap companies, please do not worry. Okay, so small cap, mid cap companies will do well. Okay. Akshat, why aren't you talking about anything regarding crypto recently? So Radhika, problem is that people do not look at the entire conversation. People just reach like very quick judgments. I've already explained the entire episode on cryptos. People refuse to listen, right? So why talk about like risky things and stick my neck out, right? So that's a simple point. I don't even give like individual stock calls that hey, I'm buying this or not buying this. I reserve that discussion for slightly more advanced users, right? And if you want, you can. I talk about cryptos also on the YouTube member community, right? NMDC I have sold. Okay, so Avas is very good, right? So that's what I would say. Is it a good time to invest in Apple, Meta, Google? Yes, very good time, right? NMDC, I'm not sold completely. NMDC, I've sold a big part of it, right? But I'm still a little bit in there, right? But I've sold majority of my stocks after I've made the video also on steel stocks, right? That I was selling, right? NMDC is overall a decent public sector company. There's nothing wrong per se, but I don't see it giving like massive returns going in the future, right? Okay, Sadhana Nitro gives. Should I hold it or sell? I have no idea about Sadhana Nitro, right? Okay, thank you. But if you have made crazy amount of profits, then book at least some. Okay. Wipro guys, I mean, I did not say that I'm going to buy it. I was already like an investor in TCS. Wipro is fine. I don't think it will suffer, right, due to US dollar strengthening. But as I said, right, on the video also, that it is better to hold companies like TCS over Wipro, right? Because Wipro is all over spread across different things. So Balaji asked that, do you have any idea of your Motherson Sumi? I'm not buying it. It's an importer of things, right? Not an exporter per se. It is going to, yeah, so capital with my Maruti not growing too aggressively, firms changing to EV sector, all this is going to be problematic, right? So for a company like Motherson Sumi. CAMS is a very good stock. There is nothing wrong with CAMS. Analysis of automotive industry. Okay, I will do that, right? I mean, that is on the card. And Nitant, I'll definitely do that. Thoughts on Birlasoft? I haven't analyzed it. Okay. Will FANG stocks do well? Yes, they are likely to do well. What do you think about TCS buying at 3,000 levels? So it's good, right? When I had already been buying it, it has gone up to like 3250, if I'm not mistaken. Sat Sri Akal, sir. Wanted to know your views on crypto. Which crypto you're buying? I'm not going to talk about crypto, guys. See, it's not as if that I'm like, averse to sharing my viewpoint on things. It's just that people understand half of it. They will just watch the thumbnail, go away, right? And then blame me for things, right? So it just becomes like a problem. Any comment in Zomato? I'm bullish about Zomato. As I've been saying, I don't change my stand right on things. So I'm bullish about Zomato. Now, this does not mean that you sell your house, invest all your money in Zomato. Please don't do that, right? Please be a little bit sensible. There is something called as building your position. If you don't know how to build positions, then please learn it, and then only build your positions in volatile stocks like Zomato, right? And guys, this is the reason why, right? I mean, please understand it, right? And I'm hoping that I'll get your support also, and I'm speaking it from the heart. Think about it this way, right? I mean, I spoke something positively about a stock where I'm putting my own money, right? For example, hypothetically, Zomato. Now, people just come like and crush me, right, on that. Hey, how dare you speak about it? When I started talking about Zomato, the stock was crushed by 60%, 50, 60% already, right? Or more than that, right? That's when I started talking about it. It was not as if that I started talking about Zomato and IPO. Please Google my videos. I was one of the staunch, uh, uh, you know, advocates of not investing in Zomato at that valuation, right? So, but overall business sense, and there is a video that I'll release most likely 2-3 days from now, where I'll speak about 5 stocks, and one is Zomato. So please watch that. You will get a better idea. Amra Raja, I've already said, guys, I mean, I'm not like an investor. I've now not increased my position because of the EV narrative in India. Manali Petrochemical, I don't know. I don't invest in such companies. Nadratech, no, I'm not invested. Uh, Small caps that you bought live. Here update on small caps. I will be updating some. For example, India Bulls Housing Finance. I'll be updating. I've made a video. India Bulls Housing Finance. Amritanjan. I'll be updating you. Zomato. I'll be updating you. And yeah, so 3-4 stocks I'll update. There is a new video that will come up in 2-3 days. Right. Stock related to aerospace and defense. It's still uncooked industry, so I will not do much there. Amritanjan Tarsans are very good. I won't say anything what I'm doing with that, right? Probably like I'll make a community post or something. UiPath is fine, so there is nothing wrong. See, I mean, guys, again, please go back to Amazon story. If you are, the problem that happens is that people take overexposure to certain stocks without understanding it. If you are investing in a company like UiPath and investing equal amount as you would on UiPath vis-a-vis Hindustan Unilever, then that is just a bad way to invest. There is a way to invest in volatile stocks. Yeah, so that's what I would say. Okay, RBI launched the pilot of CBDC. Your thoughts? So CBDC, it's a good thing, right? That they are trying to move things to blockchain. Does it kill crypto? No. Okay, so cryptos have different functionality altogether. They are not trying to compete with CBDC. The world is big enough for everyone. It's not as if that Bitcoin is trying to crush like the existing monetary system. It's not like as if that the governments are completely against cryptos. Check like US government stablecoin regulation, right? They have already listed things on their index. There's Bitcoin ETFs, whatnot is being launched, right? So again, like, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about this topic, but it's a good step. Stable coins should be regulated. CBDCs should be there. It only strengthens the crypto ecosystem in a way. Okay, thank you, guys. All right, EU small finance is good, guys. I mean, I've already been investing. Is it good to buy IDFC first currently? I don't know. I've already maxed out my position on whatever I had to buy on IDFC first a while back. Okay. Okay. Okay, bank. I don't know about this particular bank. What you're asking me? Okay, so should we REC? No, see, guys. I mean, just generally avoid government companies at this stage. The metal cycle is over. A lot of people got trapped in sugar cycle, metal cycle, oil cycle. It's just bad. You are stuck, right? I mean, that's what I would say. I'm being blunt with you. You are going to see no growth for a very long period. You are likely to see very little growth over the next few years in these things, right? That is how metal cycle, sugar cycle works, right? That they give an up and then they keep on trading sideways for years. Okay, good stocks. Let me give you an example. For example, there was a period, I think it was around 2015 to 17, when Nestle did not grow much because of the Maggie issue. That a lot of people said that Maggie has led. Then a lot of I should not name the politicians in India, right? And some now have become politicians. So they had their own FMCG companies to launch. You guys can name the person, right? So they had their FMCG companies to launch. So they criticized like Maggi, Videshi product, this, that, right? Lead and all that. Now go and check their packet, right? Exactly, like I mean that. So Nestle did not go for 2 years. Coming back to the story, but it's not as if that it stopped, right? After 2017, it exhibited massive growth, right, and it made all the sideways movement that it had exhibited in that time period. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. So Deepak Nitrite is good, no problem. GSK is also good, right? According to me. IDFC First is a good bank. I don't know the current levels. I don't check it like every day, right? So, thank you. All right. Okay. Okay. For finance, how to meet you in person? So Ram, Satish, I don't do one-on-one, but guys, I'm organizing, or I'm going to organize like offline events. I will share more updates. It is not going to be like, so yeah, I'll share more updates right soon about it, right? So I will talk about that, but I don't do any one-on-one. Please don't pay people who say that you're not invest here, invest there. I will manage a portfolio. I don't do all that stuff. I don't have time also, right, to do all that stuff. Okay. So, when do you expect the markets to bottom out? See, it is very hard for us to say markets bottoming out exactly, right? But it is quite given that it is unlikely that the markets are going to correct very aggressively. Now, when I say aggressively, it means that falling below, let's say, 15,500 levels, right? So from this point, right, so you need to take, so one could argue that markets have already bottomed out, right? I would not be surprised, right, if we have already bottomed out. Okay, let me take like maybe 1-2 more questions. I am 22. Is it fine if I invest around 50% of my money in risky assets? If you're 22, it depends on your income, right? So for example, if you're making less than, let's say, 50,000 a month, forget about stock markets, work on your skills. And coming from like someone who talks about finance, stock markets, my job is to teach people stock markets. Don't waste your time learning about stock market. It's just not worth it. Okay. So people give like very weird commentary that trading karke itna kama lenge. It's a waste, right? I mean, it's much better you focus on improving your skill set, get to like that 50-60,000, at least 50-60,000 level salary, and then think about all these things. Yeah, so that's what I would say. Okay. All right, so Akshat, I earn in USD and have a lot of money in USD. Should I pull all of my USDs out, or will it strengthen more versus INR? See, Ishank, the USD generally strengthens by 4 to 5% a year. This year was an anomaly. It strengthened like crazy. Right? You should not pull your money out of USD. If I were in your situation, I would not, right? Unless you're investing in the Indian market. If you're just pulling it out and keeping it in the bank, don't do it. Okay, so US portfolios and red opportunity. Yes, massive opportunity. I have actually increased my US portfolio quite massively over the last 2 months, right? So, and I'm very happy about it, because if I take like a 3-year viewpoint, and I'm like at a very little loss because I've downward averaged it, right? So, yeah. So from that perspective, I don't know. Okay, US market. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the session, right? So we'll close out, right? I hope you enjoyed the session, learned something new. That's the idea. Do subscribe to the channel. It helps with the channel's growth. Do share it with more of your friends. My job is to hopefully teach you things in a fundamental manner. That's the vision with which I am trying to. Allah platforms, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I would not invest, right? As of now, I've done basic research on it. I would not want to say too much. But no, I will not invest. Better approach right now in tech investing, and I invest a lot of money in tech, right? Both from startup investing point of view, investing my money via my portfolio, is take bets on big techs, right? So I mean, because it's very simple, they are sitting on massive cash, right? And they are already playing the Web 3.0 game, right? So they know what they're doing in that space, and they are likely to succeed compared to startups, right? This is where a major shift in technology has happened, as per my understanding, and of course I can be wrong, that in the past, startups used to move fast. They used to be highly innovative, crush big competition, become really big. A classic case in point is Instagram. But now what has started to happen is that startups would not have an easy time competing against established tech when it comes to Web 3.0 world, right? All the big companies are building that agile model. A classic case in point is what is happening with Twitter, right? The speed at which Elon Musk is operating, it's unimaginable, right? even startups don't operate at that speed. So the inherent advantage of tech-oriented startups has somewhat withered away compared to like So I hope you enjoyed this conversation, right? I'll try to do like maybe one live every month, hopefully, right? Or maybe like one live every 2 months, right? So we'll see, right? And a lot of exciting things coming up. I'll keep on announcing it, but I hope you enjoyed this session. Just wanted to share this quick macro update so that you don't panic. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you soon.